Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to look at something really fundamental. We're getting into the philosophy of Henri Cartier-Bresson.
HCB, yeah. Often called the father of modern street photography.
Exactly. And our whole mission here is to take his big ideas, patience, geometry, timing, and see how they work on the camera we all have, the one in our pocket.
It's the perfect way to look at him because his genius was never about the gear. He used a simple Leica, one lens.
Right.
His images were completely unstaged, unretouched. So when you really get into it, you realize the camera is actually your eye, your mind.
Yeah.
His ideas totally transcend technology.
So we're really trying to move beyond just taking snapshots. We want to understand how you make a photograph that, breathes and tells a story.
Exactly. We're looking for that structure, but also that human connection.
Okay, so let's start with the big one. The phrase everyone knows, the decisive moment. We hear it all the time, but he had a very specific definition for it.
Oh, he did. It was almost academic. He called it the simultaneous recognition in a fraction of a second of the significance of an event, as well as of a precise organization of forms that give that event its proper expression.
Whoa. Okay, that sounds more like a physics problem than a photography tip. How do we even begin to break that down?
Right, it's a mouthful. But the key is that he's tying two things together. The decisive moment is that perfect collision. It's where, what is happening, the story, the emotion.
The significance he mentioned?
Yes,
Well,
that's one part. And the other is how it looks, the composition, the geometry. They have to fall into perfect harmony at the exact same instant.
so if you just have a cool event, but the photo is a mess, it doesn't count.
It's just a cluttered document. And if you have a beautiful arrangement of lines, but nothing is happening, it's just an empty stage. It has to be both.
Which means the real secret wasn't just having a fast finger, it was anticipation. He didn't chase things, he waited for them.
Absolutely. He would study the scene, how people moved through a space, how light was changing, how a gesture might unfold. He was basically predicting the future just a few seconds ahead.
He was ready before it even happened.
Instead of reacting, he was already there, mentally and physically.
I love the analogy one of our sources used, comparing it to fishing. You don't, jump in the water and grab the fish. You find your spot and wait patiently.
And he would wait, sometimes for an hour in one spot, just waiting for the right person to walk into the frame he'd already composed.
An hour. I mean, in the age of Instagram, that kind of patience feels almost impossible. What if you've only got like 5 minutes?
You can still do it. You just apply focused anticipation. In those 5 minutes, you find the strongest piece of geometry you can see. A cool shadow, a doorway, a staircase, and you just wait.
You wait for someone to complete the picture.
You wait for life to walk into the structure. You're predicting that intersection of action and form.
And we can use our phones to help with that, right? Since there's always that tiny shutter lag. The trick is to shoot a split second before the peak moment.
And you can guarantee you'll get it. Just hold down your shutter button, your phone goes into burst mode, it'll take a whole sequence of shots.
And you can pick the perfect one later.
You get to refine your timing after the fact. It's like a time machine.
Okay, and the other big thing is focus lag. That's what trips me up. Something happens fast, and my phone is still trying to figure out what to focus on.
That's where pre-focusing is key. You just tap and hold on the part of the screen where you expect the action to be. It locks the focus and the exposure.
So when your subject finally walks into that spot,
Your camera fires instantly, no lag. You're combining HCB's patient mind with a simple modern trick. You're ready.
that idea of finding the strong geometry first is the perfect transition. The decisive moment needed a stage to happen on. So, our second principle. Geometry, the architecture of the frame.
This was everything to him. You have to remember, HCB trained as a painter. You can see that classical foundation in all his work. He even said geometry should be a passion.
So he saw it as the backbone of the image. He was finding order in all the chaos of the street.
Exactly. So he wasn't just pointing his camera at interesting people. He was composing the background, the scene, first. He was looking for the scaffolding.
And what does that scaffolding look like? What should we be looking for?
He looked for lines, things like railings, roads, even shadows that act as leading lines to pull your eye right to the subject. He also used shapes.
Like an archway or a window?
Archways, windows, triangles of light, anything that could frame the subject and give the image a sense of stability.
And his use of shadows is just incredible. They don't feel like empty space. They feel solid.
They're characters. He treated shadows like actual characters in the scene, adding rhythm and mystery and depth. A great tip for you is to just switch your phone to black and white mode for a while.
Oh, I like that.
It forces you to stop seeing color and start seeing pure form, light, and structure.
That's a great tip. And this all leads to his most famous, maybe most difficult rule. He refused to crop his photos. Ever.
That refusal is the whole game. It's what creates the discipline. It forced him to crop in the mind. The frame had to be perfect before he pressed the shutter.
Nothing extra, nothing missing.
And even though we can crop on our phones, trying to live by that rule will make you a better photographer faster than anything else. You learn to commit.
Let's make this real with an example. That famous shot from Hyères, France in 1932, the one with the bicyclist.
Oh, it's a perfect case study. He's up high looking down, and you have this incredible complex geometry from the staircase railings. They create these sweeping spirals
And they all lead your eye.
straight down to this tiny figure of a cyclist zipping around the corner. The lesson is so clear. He found the geometry first. He set the stage. The person only becomes the hero of the story because they complete that perfect architecture.
So for you listening, a really practical way to start training this instinct is to turn on your phone's grid lines.
Yeah, learn the rule of thirds, see where those PowerPoints are.
But then, and this is the important part, turn them off and start composing by feel. You want to get to a point where you feel the balance. You don't have to measure it.
It's about intuition, not just rules.
Right. Okay, let's shift to our third theme, street etiquette. The invisible photographer. HCB was a master at this. And in a world where everyone has a camera, this idea of respect is, I think, more critical than ever.
It really is. And his idea of invisibility was about respect, not about being deceptive or sneaky. He just never wanted to disturb the scene.
He wanted life to unfold naturally.
So he would do things like put black tape over the shiny chrome parts of his Leica. He dressed simply. He moved slowly. He didn't want to become part of the story he was observing.
And he was very clear that it wasn't of the photographer's ego. He said something like, you mustn't want to prove anything through photography.
Yes, the image itself must speak. That was his whole thing.
And this is where the phone is actually a huge advantage. It's naturally discreet.
Totally. The advice is just to act normal. Hold your phone casually, like you're about to send a text or check directions. If you're calm, you just sort of disappear into the background rhythm of the street.
But let's get into the ethics of it, because
Got it.
that's the real challenge. The sources are clear that what's legal isn't always what's moral.
And HCB always worked from a place of deep respect for people. For us today, that means we have to consciously avoid taking photos that mock or belittle someone.
Even if it's kind of a funny moment.
Exactly. And practically speaking, if someone notices you and they object, you just stop. You smile, you move on. No arguments. And you have to be extra careful when photographing vulnerable people. The goal is always dignity, never exploitation.
So invisibility is a tool for honesty. You're trying to show things as they are without your presence changing them.
Precisely. When you approach it with that kind of humility, the moments you capture will feel so much more authentic.
So we've got the philosophy, the geometry, the ethics. Let's talk about training. How do we actually put this all together? HCD saw it like a musician practicing scales.
That practice is everything. It builds that anticipation we were talking about. And there are a few drills you can try with your phone, like right now. The first one is a little counterintuitive. It's called observing without shooting.
Okay, but that sounds, I mean, for me, that sounds like pure torture, to just walk around and not take pictures.
I know, but that's the whole point, right? You go for a walk, but you commit for the first hour, let's say, to not pressing the shutter.
Yeah, what am I doing instead?
You're just looking, you're focusing entirely on finding compositions, watching gestures, seeing the light. You're asking yourself, if I could take a shot right now, would this be it? It builds the muscle without the crutch of actually taking the photo.
I can see how that would train your brain.
Oh.
Okay, I like that. What's another one?
The one frame challenge. This goes right back to his no cropping rule.
So one scene, one picture.
One shot. That's it. You can't just spray and pray with burst mode. It forces you to be deliberate, to wait for that absolute peak moment, and to trust your instinct.
It trains commitment. And what about timing?
For pure reflexes, you can do little drills. Try to snap a picture the exact moment a person's foot lands on a crosswalk stripe, or the second a bus passes them. You're trying to shrink your reaction time to 0.
And we should revisit the tools or the simplicity of them. HCB used one camera, one lens.
The 50mm, yeah. That consistency meant he knew exactly what the frame would look like without even raising the camera to his eye.
We can do that too. Just commit to using only the main lens on your phone for a month. No ultra-wide, no telephoto. You'll be amazed how your eye starts to predict the frame.
Finally, editing. HCB was famously against darkroom tricks. So what does editing with restraint look like today when we have these incredibly powerful apps?
Right. He believed the photo's power had to come from the moment of capture, not from fixing it later. Editing should enhance, not rescue.
And that's the perfect way to put it. If you have to do a massive crop or use a crazy filter to make the image interesting, you probably miss the decisive moment to begin with.
So in practice, that means what?
Crop very sparingly, if at all. Make small adjustments to exposure and contrast to make it look how the moment actually felt. Turning a photo to black and white is great for emphasizing form, but resist anything that feels fake. The power is in the authenticity.
This whole deep dive really shows that HCB's legacy is about being incredibly present and aware. We've talked about patience, geometry, respect, simplicity. A great photograph is just the result of your eye being completely in sync with the world around you.
And he summed up that unity perfectly. He brought all these things, the technical, the intellectual, the emotional, together in one single idea. He said, to photograph is to put on the same line of sight the head, the eye, and the heart.
Wow. The head for the geometry, the eye for the timing, and the heart for the empathy.
All three, all at once. So when you raise your phone, you're making a choice to honor what you see with that complete awareness. The biggest lesson here is that the decisive moment isn't just out there waiting for you. It lives in your intuition, an intuition that you build through practice.
So get out there.
Yeah.
Walk your streets, listen with your eyes, and just be ready for when life offers you one of those gifts. You'll know how to catch it.